Hey everybody, Chef Chad Armstrong here, founder of Home Cook Academy, and welcome back to the free online culinary video series. You know, I hope you've enjoyed the first couple of videos, the kitchen tour, butchering your own chicken and making oven fried chicken. I really hope you've been doing that. Definitely go out, post your comments below. If you have any questions about what you've seen so far, go ahead and ask those. You know, I'll be more than happy to get back to you with any questions about any of the videos that I posted or any future videos I may be putting out. Or maybe you want to find out more about Home Cook Academy. And the time is now, it's open, it's ready to go. You can join in. There's a link to my website, chefchadarmstrong.com. Go ahead, check it out, find out more. You know, it's there for you. It's ready to give you the tools and the knowledge so that you can get back into your kitchen, cooking for yourself, your friends, and your family again. All right, so today's video, I'm gonna make a frittata. You know, a frittata is really nothing more than an unflipped omelet, but easier. You know, omelets are a great way to showcase your cooking knowledge and your skills with eggs, and I'm gonna teach you that in Home Cook Academy, but I wanted to give you something that's a little bit simpler, something that you can use to feed a larger group of people, maybe your family, maybe you have a gathering for brunch or for a lunch even on the weekends. This is a great way to put out a lot of food in a short period of time, because I can show you how to crank out probably about 4 omelets in an hour with one pan. I mean, really, just that crazy. So it's a really great tool also to use up stuff in your fridge. You know, what I've got today is I've actually got leftover roasted red pepper, I've got leftover roasted asparagus, and then I had a half a piece of Gruyere cheese that I just grated. And Gruyere cheese is a Alpine style hard cheese that is great for melting. So those are what I'm gonna use in today's frittata. The good thing is you can use whatever you want. You can use crumbled sausage or bacon or ham, or you can go all veggies, or you can go herbs and cheese. You know, whatever you want to do, it's your choice. As long as you have eggs, you can add whatever else you want to your frittata. You know, as long as, you know, the meats are cooked or the veggies are personally cooked, you know, it's a little bit easier. You know, the only thing you really have to know is that as long as your meats are cooked or your veg are already cooked, you're all good. So make sure that those are done ahead of time, or if you're gonna use raw veggies, you're gonna have to saute them a little bit longer in the pan that you're gonna do your frittata in. Today, I'm gonna do our frittata in a non-stick 12-inch saute pan. You can use a regular stainless steel pan or even a well-seasoned cast iron pan. If you're gonna use stainless steel, make sure that it is well-seasoned as well. You know, heat up some oil, bring it to just to the smoke point, which is where the smoke just starts to, you know, smoke. That's called the smoke point. Pour that oil out and then put some fresh oil in, and that way it'll be a nice seasoned pan. Or if it's cast iron, you know, that's a whole nother training series on how to season cast iron pans that I'll cover in more detail in Home Cook Academy. So if you don't have one of those pans, you can use a non-stick. It's the easiest way to get the food slide right out. You know, so I'm gonna go ahead and heat up my pan, get it to, you know, just a nice warm temperature, and you can usually tell if it's warm by putting the back of your hand. Never use the front of your hand, because the front of your hand is, you know, it's used all the time. It's callous, it's worn down. The feeling is a lot less in it. The nerves are a lot more sensitive on the back side of your hand. So if you put the back of your hand down, you can start to feel the heat a lot better. So it's a lot more sensitive. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of olive oil to the pan, and you can use any kind of fat you want. You know, butter, you could use a really good olive oil, you can use another oil. I highly recommend staying away from the high, you know, processed oils, you know, the vegetable oils, stuff like that, the cottonseed. Those things are really highly processed and, you know, just not really that great for you. Try and stick to, you know, food that is in its truest form. That's why I use olive oil, extra virgin olive oil in my everyday cooking. I use some coconut oil, and then I use butter. You know, those are the oils that I use mainly in my kitchen. So I want to get my pan hot. I'm going to go ahead and swirl the oil around a little bit just to get it dispersed. And then very simply, my steps are really just to reheat my veg. So my red peppers, my asparagus, go ahead and get those into the pan, get those warmed through before I add my eggs. And I'm also gonna hold off on adding my cheese too. So my cheese is not gonna go in until my eggs have just started to set around the edge of the pan. You know, I don't want it to completely just sink to the bottom. And then the cheese will also, I want it to be more on the top, because I want that cheese to melt nicely. And then if I wanted, I could even go a step farther, and I could put my oven on broil at the end to get a little color on the top if I wanted to add a little more flavor to the top of my frittata, because cheese, especially Gruyere cheese, when you brown it, it really develops a really nice, strong, rich, nutty flavor. You know, it's already got that flavor, but you know, even more so when you do add a little color to it, the gratiné on top of your frittata. So my pan is starting to get warm. I'm gonna go ahead and add my asparagus and the peppers. Yep, and you can hear them. You know, the pan is definitely starting to get warm. There's a little sizzle going. So I'm just gonna spread those out, and that way they'll heat up a little bit faster. You know, I don't want to crowd my pan with veggies though. I want to have them nice and dispersed, so that way when I pour my egg in, the egg will disperse evenly throughout the pan. And then I'm just going to put the pan, you know, get the eggs to where they're just starting to set around the edge, add my cheese, and then I'm going to put it into my oven. My oven has been preheated to 350 degrees. And then it's just a matter of time. So I've got 8 eggs. So 8 eggs is roughly going to take about 10 minutes in the oven. It's a good number for eggs for me. 6 you could get away with. 6 is probably the bare minimum I'd want to do for eggs, and it's going to take a little bit less time to cook. And you can go up to, you know, 10 or 12 if you want, but it's going to be quite a bit thicker and denser with eggs. And you know, if you're going to do 4 or 5 of these things, you know, 6 to 8 is probably a good number for each one. That way you can feed a lot of people with, you know, a little bit less food. So my asparagus and my red peppers are starting to heat up. Let's go ahead and bring the egg over and go ahead and pour that in. I did season my egg with salt and pepper. I used about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. You know, it doesn't have to be exact, you know, an estimate. I definitely recommend adjusting the salt depending on what you're putting into it along with the eggs. So my asparagus I seasoned with salt and pepper the other night when I roasted it. The Gruyere cheese has a good amount of salt in it as well. So I'm gonna cut back on the salt too, you know, around a 1/4 teaspoon for the 8 eggs. Anything more than that, you're gonna risk the chance of it becoming too salty. So let's go ahead and add the eggs. And then, like I said, I just want my eggs to just start to set around the edge here. And you can see it's already wanting to do that. And you can enhance that. You know, you can speed it up by just taking a spatula, once it starts to set a little bit, and you just push the eggs away towards the center from the side. So working from the outside in. And that's gonna allow the uncooked egg, the runny egg still, to go to the back or to the outside of the pan and start to set. Because the outside of the pan at this point is gonna be a lot hotter. Now I don't want to sit there and just scramble this either. I'm not making, you know, an egg scramble. I am doing, you know, a frittata. So I'm gonna once again let this sit just for, you know, probably about 30 seconds, and then we'll come back and we'll add our cheese. All right, so now you can see that it is now starting to set a lot more around the edges. I'm gonna go ahead and just pull and let a little bit more of that runny egg go down into the bottom there, and then we can go ahead and add our cheese. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the cheese at this point. Like I said, I got probably a little more than, you know, a 1/2 cup of Gruyere. You can add more cheese if you want. You can add less cheese if you want. It really depends on, you know, how much cheese you actually like. One of my other favorites to use is feta cheese or Parmesan cheese in this, and that usually is a nice big hit. You can even do a take on like a quiche Lorraine and do, you know, cheddar and bacon and make it just like that too. So my cheese is spread out evenly. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this into the oven now. Give it about 10 minutes and we'll come back. It should be nice and set, and I'll show you how to take it out of the pan. All right, so it's been about 10 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the frittata out now. It should be just where it's just set in the center, but it's not liquid at all. You don't wanna have, you know, the runny eggs on top, but you also don't wanna let it go too long, because if you overcook it, your eggs will get rubbery and tough. So let's go ahead and pull it out of the oven. Oh yeah, that's looking really good. You can see how much it's risen up. That's because of the air bubbles that are in the egg whites. They create, you know, the steam that forms in those, and it makes them rise. It will go down as it cools, so, you know, don't, you know, freak out and panic that you did something wrong. So like I said, it will go down. So let's go ahead and get this out of the pan. You can see it wants to shake fairly easily. If it doesn't want to shake on you, you can just take and loosen it with your spatula until it lets loose. Sometimes those egg proteins want to grab onto, you know, something on the side of the pan. So to take it out, all you do is just slide it out of the pan, like so. And you can see it still grabbed the bottom of my pan a little bit there, but that's okay. You know, nothing wrong with that. It's just cooking. So now to serve this, you can serve it right away, piping hot if you want. It can also be served, room temperature, for a large gathering, maybe for a brunch or, a get together that you might have. You can cut it into either 6 or 8 pieces depending on how many people you have to feed and how many different frittatas that you do have. So there it was, just that simple. I've got a frittata in about 15 minutes, with prep and cook time in the oven, and that's it. Like I said, you can add whatever you want to it. The sky's the limit. Whatever you decide that you want to use up in your fridge, or whatever ingredients you want to put in your frittata, whatever your crowd is asking for, that's what you can do. So, Home Cook Academy is open. It's now ready to go. I'm going to teach you so many more ways to use eggs. It's crazy. We're going to spend an entire lesson just on eggs itself. Cooking everything from sunny side up to learning how to flip your own omelet to poaching eggs. We're going to learn it all. It's all included in Home Cook Academy. Remember, it's a 26 lesson program. It's designed so you can do it in the comfort of your own home at your convenience. It's ready for you to go. Go ahead, check it out below. I hope to see you inside of Home Cook Academy. Can't wait to get started with you. And until next time, get out there and cook, because life is worth cooking. See you soon.